Page 37, tested by dust. While we sat taking our 6 weeks test, the wind rose and the sand blew right through the cracks in the schoolhouse wall, right through the gaps around the window glass. And by the time the tests were done, each and every one of us was coughing pretty good, and we all needed a bath. I hope we get bonus points for testing in a dust storm. April 1934. So think about that. Would you do good on a test if there was wind and dust blowing around in here? No. Remember, this isn't like it is now. Back then, all the houses were built out of wood. You know, there's no brick houses or metal houses, and the wood was slats put together, and so there was tiny cracks in between them, and especially older houses, you know, ones that had been already built, had even more of cracks around the windows and everything, so dust could just blow right in. Okay. Banks. Ma says, everything we lost when the banks closed because they didn't have enough cash to go around, all the money that's ours is coming back to us in full. Good. Now we have money for a doctor when the baby comes. April 1934. You think that's going to happen? You think all the money's going to come back to them?
No.
We'll find out. All right. Beet wheat. County Agent Dewey had some pretty bad news. 1/4 of the wheat is lost, blown away or withered up. What remains is little more than a wisp of what it should be. And every day we have no rain, more wheat dies. County Agent Dewey says, soon there won't be enough wheat for seed to plant next fall. The piano is some comfort in all this. I go to it and I forget the dust for hours, testing my long fingers on wild rhythms. But Ma slams around the kitchen when I play. And after a while, she sends me to the store. Jody LaFleur doesn't see me pass him by. He rides his fences, dazed by dust. I wince at the sight of his rib-thin cattle, but he's not even seeing them. I look at Joe and know our future is drying up and blowing away with the dust. April 1934. Give up on wheat. Ma says, try putting in a pond, Bayard. We can fill it off the windmill. We've got a good well. Daddy grumbles. The water will seep back into the ground as fast as I can pump it, Paul. We'll dry up our well, and then we'll have nothing. Plant some other things then, Ma says. Try cotton, sorghum. If we plant the fields in different crops, maybe we'll do better. Better than wheat. Daddy says, no, it has to be wheat. I've grown it before, I'll grow it again. But Ma says, can't you see what's happening, Bayard? The wheat's not meant to be here. And Daddy says, what about those apple trees of yours, Paul? You think they are? Nothing needs more to drink than those two. But you wouldn't hear of leveling your apples, would you? Ma is bittering. I can see it in her mouth. A pond would work, she says, sounding crusty and stubborn. And Daddy says, look at Paul. Who's the farmer, you or me? Ma says, who pays the bills? So they're mad. You know, it's frustrating. And they're kind of being mean to each other right now. No one right now, Daddy says. Ma starts to quaking, but she won't let Daddy see. Instead, she goes out to the chickens, and her anger, simmering over like a pot in an empty kitchen, boils itself down doing chores. April 1934. What I don't know. My teacher, Miss Freeland, is singing at the shrine along with famous opera stars from all around the world in a play called Madame Butterfly. I've never heard of that play. Most everyone's heard of Madame Butterfly, Mad Dog says. How does that singing plowboy know something I don't? And how much more is out there most everyone else has heard of except me? April 1934. Is there a lot of things that other people have heard of that you haven't heard of?
Yes.
Do you want to? Do you think she wants to learn it, saying things like that?
Maybe.
Do you want to learn things other people know?
No.
All right, last one. Apple blossoms. Ma has been nursing these two trees for as long as I can remember, in spite of the dust, in spite of the drought. Because of Ma's stubborn care, these trees are thick with blossoms, delicate and pinky white. My eyes can't get enough of the sight of them. I stand under the trees and let the petals fall into my hair, a blizzard of sweet-smelling flowers, dropped from the boughs of the two placed there in the front yard by Ma before I was born, that she and they might bring forth fruit into our home together. May 1934. What does that mean, that she and they? Who is she? Who is they? And it says they might bring forth fruit into our home. What does that mean? Okay, okay, so the trees are going to bring apples. Well, what kind of fruit would Ma bring? The baby. That's exactly right. Okay. We're going to do a very